So in the next 4 or 5 minutes, you'll be mastering transitive intransitive verb, direct indirect object, subject complement, and also an exercise that helps you master what you have learned. So stay tuned.
In our previous lecture, we have already discussed about primary auxiliary verbs and modal auxiliary verbs. Now, today we are going to start our lecture with action verbs. So now, from the name itself, we understand that action verbs has something to do with the action performed by the subject. Suppose the sentence is, I teach English. So teach is the action. I ate sandwich. Ate is the action verb. Alright, now class understand that action verbs are again subdivided into two types. That is transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. Now what are transitive verbs? Transitive verbs are the verb which requires an object to complete its sense. For example, if I say, I bought. Now, even though the sentence is carrying the subject I and the verb bought, but still the sentence is incomplete. So, we have to add an object in order to convey the complete meaning of the sentence. So, I add, I bought a pencil. So, bought becomes an example of a transitive verb which required an object, a pencil, to convey a complete meaning. Then coming to the second type of verbs is intransitive verbs. A verb which does not require an object to complete its sense is called intransitive verb. For example, when I say birds fly, so we have the subject bird and the verb fly, and this meaning is complete in itself. So this is an example. So the word fly is a perfect example of intransitive verb. Now class, moving on, we will talk about the object present in the sentence. So now we have understood that object plays a very important role in forming transitive sentences, right? But class, you have to understand the object of a sentence, they can be of two types, that is direct object and indirect object. Now what is that? Understand this class. Suppose there is a sentence, I gave him a pen. So now I am doing something. So I is my subject, gave is my verb. But then you must have noticed that here we have him also and a pen also. So we have two objects here. Understand this class. The basically, the non-living things becomes the direct object, and the living things, they become the indirect object. So suppose in the sentence, I gave him a pen being a non-living object works as a direct object, whereas him becomes the indirect object. Alright. In order to identify that whether the object is direct or indirect, we can ask magic question. So we can identify the indirect object by asking for whom or from whom. So the question becomes, I gave the pencil to whom? So the answer will be to him. So to him is my indirect object. Alright. Now moving on to the third section of your chapter is verb complement. Now what does that mean? Complement can be defined as a word or group of words that is needed to complete the meaning of a given expression. Now understand, suppose I have a sentence, every morning is a gift. Now understand, every morning is working here as a subject. Is here is my verb. So a gift, even though no action is being performed here, alright. So is gift is basically describing the subject. Alright. Or suppose when I say she is a teacher, so she is my subject here, is my verb here. Alright. Now a teacher is basically the description of the subject about her profession. Alright. So these kinds of phrase, or group of words which are used to describe the subject, they are known as complement. Now how are they different from object class? You have to identify whether the subject, the word present right after the verb is an object or complement. So understand that when we talk about objects, we use action verbs, whereas when we talk about complement, we use linking verbs. Alright. We use linking verbs. And complement verbs are also divided into two types, that is subject complement and object complement. So words that tell us something about the subject, they are known as subjective complements or subject complements, and the words that tell us something about the object, they are known as objective complement or object complement. Thank you.
I hope this video helped clear up any confusion about verbs. To make sure you've really mastered the topic, I've put together a quick practice worksheet for you. You can find it right there in the video description below. Happy studying, and I'll see you in the next lesson.